Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome. I'm going to be spending this cloudy and rainy day working on a 1-hour reset. So I have the timer set on my phone and I'm going to get to whatever I can within an hour. I'm going to try to do a quick tidy up generally around the house, and then I'm going to get to some sweeping, vacuuming, mopping, whatever I can within that hour. Now I also do have some of my kids working on other chores during this time. So this is kind of, all hands on deck type of situation where I just wanted to get the house nice and tidy, and we're all going to work together to do it. So I'm starting by working on the living room and dining room area. I'm just walking around, tidying things up, getting things picked up and put back into their places. And then you'll see my boys in and out of the bathroom behind me. They are currently working together to clean the bathroom. So that is what they're doing, and you'll see them in and out of the bathroom. I've noticed that this method in particular works out really well for my family, especially during those really busy weeks when you don't have a lot of time to devote to cleaning. We kind of just all come together and we spend an hour. It's a way of getting a lot of things done in a very short period of time. So I really love doing this method, especially on very busy weeks, which has been the theme here lately. But I do have some spring cleaning coming up here, so I will be posting that here in the coming weeks. I am working really hard trying to get the freezer all prepared and the pantry all prepared, everything stocked up, and the house nice and clean for whenever I have surgery in a couple weeks. And as you can see, I have not dusted this area in a while, so I'm going to get to some dusting, and honestly it's going to be real light, just kind of whatever I can see at the moment. But in the coming weeks, whenever I post the spring clean, it will be much deeper clean, and I think I'm going to be working in more of layers and not so much timing myself. These timed sessions are really nice on busy days, but they don't offer a huge deep clean unless you're only focusing on one area at a time. So I do plan on kind of breaking areas down into sections and working more in layers for my spring clean, which, like I said, I will have coming up here pretty shortly. I do plan on sharing a bunch of spring cleaning, and I'm just going to end up breaking it up, and hopefully I can then, get it done before my surgery, and that way it is all nice and tidy and it's nothing I have to worry about while I'm trying to recover. If you see me struggling with this vacuum, it is because my husband used it last, and I don't know what it is. Please tell me if your husband is like this too. But every time my husband goes to use the vacuum, he acts like he has to fix it, and I'm using air quotes, because there is nothing wrong with it. But he, for whatever reason, he seems to think there's a problem every time he goes to use it, and so he'll try to fix the problem that he created basically. But I think it makes it worse. And so every time he uses the vacuum afterwards, when I go to use the vacuum, I'm like, what is up with this thing? And so this time I could barely push it. It was super, super hard to push. And I ended up having to adjust the suction on it, even though it was on the normal one I used, because it was so messed up. I don't know what he did, but I need to look into it, because I ended up resorting to sweeping and stuff a little later in the video, because I could just not get the vacuum to cooperate with me like normal. If you follow along though, I do like using this corded vacuum on my rugs in particular. I feel like it just works so much better than the stick vacuums at picking up stuff, and it is sped up slightly so you can't really tell, but I like to do more of a slower vacuum whenever I'm using my corded vacuum. I feel like it helps pick up more stuff, so I'll slower vacuum, and I kind of do all different directions to make sure that I get up as much as possible. So that is what I'm doing here, and like I said, I don't do it too often whenever I have time, and I usually will do it for more of a deeper clean. I'll vacuum it really good, and then I like taking them outside outside and doing pressure washing, which I should really do for my spring cleaning. So I hope that I get to that because I know that it's time. I definitely need to. I think the last time I did it was in the fall. So next time there is a nice, bright, sunny day that is warmer, I will need to take these outside and pressure wash them. That way they can be nice and clean, and then also have the sun to dry them throughout the day. This area, much like my living room area, it doesn't have a ton of like clutter and toys and stuff like that because my kids really keep a lot of their stuff in their rooms and they don't play in the living room or anything like that. They'll bring stuff like outside to play, but for the most part, they don't usually bring their stuff. The things that I usually will have to pick up, like I'm doing here, is there'll be pencils or crayons or erasers or something like that that falls under the table while we're doing school. So after school, I like to kind of go around, make sure that I got everything under the table, and then give it a good wipe down so it is nice and ready for dinner time. But that is pretty much it. There is not a lot to do here. Now, for this, there's not a lot to do because I'm really just doing surface level today. But for spring cleaning, I will definitely have to take a lot more of the stuff off the shelves, give those shelves a good wipe down. I also need to pressure wash this rug. I've actually been thinking about switching it out. It is a indoor-outdoor rug, which I really love having under our dining room. That I always say is one of the best decisions I made because it is really easy to clean up anything that spills. So I've gotten away with it being a light color, I think specifically because it is indoor-outdoor and it's so easy to clean. So I will stick with that. If I end up switching it out, I definitely will continue to do indoor-outdoor, but that's an idea that I've kind of been throwing around here recently, is switching out some of our rugs. One thing I've been focusing on a lot more recently with my kids is cleaning up after themselves, and it's not really that I have never worked on that with them. I think that's a constant skill that you have to just constantly work on. And my kids are really great about picking up after themselves. However, I think with like them making their own meals, a lot of times they aren't as wonderful about seeing everything. So that is something that I've put more of a focus on, just having them, instead of putting their plates or whatever they used in the sink, instead having them just load the dishwasher. We haven't always had a dishwasher, so that is not something that is necessarily just a routine thing for them. We've had one in recent years, and I think just now is when I'm putting more of a focus on it. It was easy for me to just come in here, throw whatever dishes are in the sink into the dishwasher, but more so recently, I'm trying to teach the kids, hey, whenever you're done with your cup or whenever you're done with your plate, just go ahead, rinse it off and put it in the dishwasher. And that way everything is in there and we don't have to spend a lot of time doing any of that. I know that that will be really beneficial whenever I have my surgery and we don't have to do all this cleanup from throughout the day. Now I keep looking out the window because my neighbors, they started a fire in their yard, which is very normal. However, the fire keeps getting larger. And in the past, this is what I'm looking at. So my neighbors, I don't know if you can see, the fire actually did not look very huge there, but it was pretty big. And the smoke was just filling up the yard. And so I was trying to keep an eye on it because they're older and they don't always keep an eye on it. There was, I think, a week or two ago, I might have even shared about it on my channel. I can't remember. But a week or two ago, I was in here cleaning the kitchen. I was doing dishes and I look up and there's a fire in their yard because it's very common here, which I was not aware of, because from Chicago, like, you can't just start fires like that. You get in trouble and you can't burn leaves and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So I was never familiar with it, but down here, people start fires all the time in their yard to get rid of debris and stuff like that. So it is very normal. However, I looked up and neither one of them were home. And so I tried to keep an eye on it, and then they ended up coming back and it wasn't a big deal at all. But I think I think because they're older and they just don't pay attention, it concerns me. I don't know if I'm just nervous about it because I do have anxiety, so that could be it. But anyway, I was just kind of checking out the window ever so often to make sure it wasn't getting out of control and, that they were there to monitor it this time. So that is what I was looking at. Anyway, I have the kitchen all wiped down. The dishes that are on the counter are actually they're all clean. They're stuff that I washed by hand. And one of my teens usually is responsible for putting those away. So whenever they get to it, they'll come in and they'll put all those away. And in the meantime, I need to get to these floors. We had been working on the yard earlier and it was off and on raining. So there was a little bit of mud, there was dirt, stuff like that we tracked in, leaves. And the floors are really messy. I do show after I mop, I show my bucket where I'm dumping it, and it was so disgusting. It is like really, really dirty. So you will see that, but because of the vacuum, I'm sweeping, which is actually not that unfamiliar. I usually will sweep my kitchen. I feel like it does really well getting in and like all the crevices and stuff. So I'm sweeping. I like doing that for like under the stove and the fridge and just everywhere. I just feel like it does a little better than actually vacuuming. So I'm sweeping all that up, getting it nice and clean so I can mop. And if you see the little blue kettle on my counter there, it's heating up, so then I can use that for the mop water. So spring cleaning, what are you guys planning on doing for spring cleaning? Do you do anything or do you just kind of keep up with it during the year? I think for the most part, I keep up with the cleaning throughout the year. But there are things that whenever spring rolls around, I almost feel like it's like a fresh start. So during the spring and the fall, I like to do random odd things, which is usual with spring cleaning. I like to move the furniture and get under the furniture. I do more of a diligent job on things. I'll clean the walls. I take down the curtains and wash those. I do more of a deeper clean. So it is technically stuff that I do throughout the year, but I'm looking at my mop because I think the new mop head that I got, I think it's like broke or something in a spot, because this happened several times where I would go to mop and then the mop head would fall off. And I know that it's like in the right spot. I don't know, between this and the vacuum, just everything was giving me problems. So I was trying to figure out, what was going on with my mop head. And I know that it was not my husband this time because he did not mop last. I did. So I don't know what it is. Like I said, it's a new mop head. So maybe it's just like has a chip in it or something where it's supposed to attach. But yeah, I was like looking at it because every time it happened like 4 times. Every time I kept trying to use it, it would pop off. So clearly I fixed it, or I temporarily fixed it because it's not falling off now. But anyway, back to the spring cleaning. If you are someone that is spring cleaning, what do you have on your list? Do you have some odd things that are easy to forget on your list? I would love to hear them down below in the comments because I know that there are things that I often forget. So seeing other people and what their lists are, that might be a great reminder for other people, including myself. One thing that I want to get to really, really bad, and I'm pretty sure I've actually mentioned it because I need to get to it, is my closet. My closet is terrible. It is it's embarrassing at this point. And that's probably why I haven't been bringing you in my bedroom here recently, because it's really bad. It is really, really bad. So I need to go through and actually declutter. I know I have so many clothes that I could get rid of that I have not worn. Same with shoes and bags and just everything. And also my closet tends to be kind of where we just put things. Well, like, if I need this box later, I'll just grab it out of here. And so I'll put the box in my closet. I store just mail and paperwork. It's just all kinds of things that do not belong there are there, and they have built up over time. And so I really, really need to spend a good amount of time and get rid of everything that I don't use, that I don't need, and clean my closet up. It's actually become such a problem that I have like on my chair, I'm just piling my laundry instead of actually putting it away, because I'm like, I need to address this. And so until I address this, I'm not putting anything else in there. And my husband, he made a comment last night about it, about my pile of laundry. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to add to the problem, but it's like creating another problem. So anyway, that is something that I absolutely need to do and do before my surgery and before spring, because I know I'd feel a lot better. And, there's really no reason for it. It's become like a storage unit at this point. So I need to get to it. But here is the timer. It has officially went off. So I still have to finish a couple of things. I finished mopping, and here is that water. Look how disgusting it is from all the dirt and everything we have tracked in from outside. So glad that I ended up getting to that because it needed done so terribly. But anyway, that is what we're going to get to as far as cleaning. And then, of course, there's always laundry here. There's probably more laundry than I feel like there's other people living in my house, because why do we have this much laundry? But either way, it always needs done. So we're going to get to this load of laundry and get it put away. It was actually, I think, pretty much all of my boys' stuff. I don't know why my camera does that, so I apologize. I feel like it's like dust on the lens, but I don't know. I've tried cleaning it, and it is what it is. But anyway, so recently, I think in another video, I mentioned how our dryer went out. There was we had it running, and then it had stopped for like an hour one night, and we were laying in bed, going to bed at night, and we kept smelling something, and it smelled like something was not on fire, but like, definitely like burning. And so after a little while, we kind of walked around and we're going to check, and I felt like it was coming from the dryer. And sure enough, we pulled out the load that had been on like an hour before, and one of my son's shirts was smoking. And it wasn't that, none of it was on fire, and there was no burn marks or anything. It was perfectly fine. I did have to rewash it though, because it smelled like smoke. But there was some element, I don't even know, my husband dealt with it, but there was some element on it that, like the heating element, I'm sure it wouldn't go off or something. I don't know. So anyway, we had to disconnect it and order parts. And so during that time, our laundry ended up piling up, and I only washed the stuff that didn't need dried or that I could dry outside. So anyway, a lot of the boys' stuff ended up piling up, and so I have a bunch of laundry now to get to, but that is actually one reason why we kept our washer and dryer. We had thought whenever we moved in that we would replace it because it was older and it was from the owners before us, and we thought about getting new ones, but then for whatever reason, we were talking to like one of these guys that sells them, and he was like, oh, the older ones are better because if you have problems, they can easily be fixed, and the parts are a lot cheaper. So given that, we just kind of kept ours, and throughout the time period of living here, little things here and there would end up breaking, and my husband would replace them, and he was able to do it very easily, and none of the parts were expensive at all. So we've just kind of kept with ours, and it's worked out like that. So this is pretty much all I have for you guys today. I am just going to finish up this load of laundry and get it all sorted, and then I'll have the boys come in and put everything away. I know this video was more of a chattier video. I feel like it's just been a while since I've hopped on here and hung out with you guys and just chatted. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and chatting with me today. If you are still here, I so appreciate you. It really helps out my channel when you stick around. So if you're still here, let me know down below so I know who stuck around. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. I'm looking forward to, in the coming weeks, getting, like I said, my pantry all stocked up, my freezer stocked up. We'll be working on some freezer meals. We'll be doing some spring cleaning, everything to get ready for the spring and summer ahead. I am really, really looking forward to it. And I'm so glad that you guys are hanging out with me through it all. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.